again for you guys in the MMA 5 prediction video. And today I'm doing the UFC 166 main event that features a heavyweight title fight, trilogy fight between champion Cain Velasquez when he defends his championship against former UFC heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos. And what is to be another epic encounter. Now I will give you guys the backstory to this fight, which will cover the two fights they've had, what they've been up to in between, and what this fight means to both of these guys. Now, I will also give you guys a full fight breakdown of the two fighters and who I have ultimately coming out with the goal when the dust settles. Now, without further ado, let's get this thing started right about now. This rivalry between Cain Velasquez and Junior Santos kicked off at UFC on Fox's inaugural event, where he was looking to defend his championship successfully against Junior Dos Santos. However, it was not to be a clean sweep for Mr. Velasquez, because Junior Dos Santos would shock the world and knock out Cain Velasquez in 90 seconds of their championship title fight in the first round, by clipping him behind the ear and sending him towering to the canvas. Now, with that victory, he became the very first man to stop Cain Velasquez inside the octagon, and relieving him of his championship and becoming the UFC heavyweight champion ultimately. Now, Velasquez, being that the competitor that he is, he will regain his spot as #1 contender by destroying Dos Santos' teammate, Antonio Bigfoot Silva, in the very first round of their co-main event at UFC 146 by taking him down, and grounding and pounding him, and cutting him up, and getting a TKO victory, thus solidifying himself as the #1 contender for the UFC heavyweight champion, who, at the time, destroyed Frank Mir in the second round of their title fight at UFC 146, and now all the stars were aligned for Cain to get his rematch against Junior Dos Santos at UFC 155. And when this fight happened at UFC 155, Cain Velasquez put on a clinic against Junior Dos Santos. He dominated him from start to finish. He outshook him on the feet. He took him down. He smothered him. He went for submission attempts. Controlled him. Everything he wanted to do in that fight, he did. I mean, Junior is a champion. He's got heart. He didn't go down. But ultimately, the victory went to Cain Velasquez. Thus, with that victory, not only did he avenge his previous loss, he also brought this series to 1-1 and taught JDS a very valuable lesson. You have to use all of your weapons inside the octagon. You can't just rely on your boxing purely just because it's fun. You have to mix it up. You got to use kicks. You have to use takedowns. You have to use your jiu-jitsu when you're on the ground. He's taking you down. If you can't stop it, you have to work your way up or go for submission attempts to make him think twice of taking you down. The other thing he learned in that fight was train harder. No, not train harder. Train smarter, not harder. But if you come in there overworked, you're not going to last very long. Now, both of these guys will be on the same card again this past May at UFC 160, where Cain Velasquez successfully defended his championship for the very first time against Antonio Bigfoot Silva, in which Velasquez defeated him again in the first round. But this time it was a cleaner victory, There wasn't a lot of blood. He just knocked him out. And JDS would defeat Mark Hunt in the co-main event of that card in the third round by a spinning back kick. And I mean, in that fight, he actually mixed it up better. He used some of his kicks. He actually went for a takedown in the second. He got, on top of him. And then he transitioned to the side mount and started punching him. And, I liked what he was doing. I mean, I wish we would mix it up more, but it is what it is. It's an improvement, obviously. Now, ultimately, here's what's at stake for both of these guys. For the challenger, this is his last chance. If he does not defeat Cain Velasquez, he will not be getting any title shots for the foreseeable future. So he's in the back of the bus. Cain Velasquez, he defeats Junior Dos Santos, he ain't got to worry about it for a long time. However, if he does lose, he does get a rematch against JDS, and they'll have their fourth fight. But should he win, he's got Fabricio Werdum on his radar, and possibly the winner of Josh Barnett and Travis Brown, and the same goes for JDS. If he wins, he has those two guys to look forward to as well. Fabricio Werdum and the winner between Travis Brown and Josh Barnett. Now, as far as who's going to win this fight, win this series, that'll be coming up next. When matching up both of these guys, from the reach perspective, it's 77 for both of them across the board. So that's not going to be a problem. When it comes down to cardio, Cain Velasquez wins all day long. The same guy you fight in the first, the same guy you're going to fight in the later rounds. The longer it goes, the better off it is for Velasquez than it is Dos Santos. Dos Santos might be good for 1 and 3, but 4 and 5, question mark. Now, as far as striking is concerned, I feel Cain has the better technique because the guy has no wasted motion with his strikes. It's very precise, it's very tight, and he mixes it up well with, the punches and his kicks. He does a lot of head kicks, and he's shown a lot of improved boxing, especially in the second JDS fight and the second Bigfoot fight. Basically, when he knocked Bigfoot down with strikes instead of taking him down, which he couldn't do at the time, but he knocked him down with strikes, used his wrestling to get a better position to punch him in, and ground and pound. Good night, baby. It's finished. Now, as far as, power is concerned, although he knocked out cold Antonio Nogueira, which shows that he doesn't have pillow fists and he doesn't hit like a girl. A lot of the guys that he has, put away have not been out cold, like the guys JDS has fought. The 12, knockouts that JDS has on his record, all those guys went out like a light. Likes of the champ himself, Cain. He went down when he got clipped behind the ear. Fabricio Werdum, uppercut, Stefan Struve, and Gilbert Yvel, Gabriel Gonzaga, and the list goes on. But the fact is, though, the boxing goes to JDS, pure boxing anyways, because the guy has great footwork, great timing, great accuracy, and he's got heavy hands. But overall striking goes to Cain Velasquez, simply put, because he does mix it up. More often than not, it's not just straight boxing. He mixes it up with his kicks. His box is boxing as well. He doesn't just sit there and try to box you all day like Dos Santos like to do. I mean, Dos Santos will throw in some kicks, but he's heavy on the boxing, very heavy. I mean, he threw some kicks in the Hunt fight, which is a major improvement. He threw some kicks in the Carwin fight as well. He threw the head kick. the Carwin, and he threw the spinning back kick to Hunt, and then a body kick as well. But it's primarily just his boxing, which will not really serve him too well, especially when Cain is going to try to keep this at a kickboxing range. So JDS has got to use his Muay Thai, to counteract that. Nevertheless, when it comes down to grappling, Cain Velasquez is a brown belt, JDS is a black belt, but neither one of them like to use their jiu-jitsu skills very much. But Cain will at least make the attempt to show that he is a well-rounded fighter, because he will mix his jiu-jitsu in there when he can, and he will try, even though he doesn't get it. I mean, he tried to get a Renegade Trigo Chicago, could not get it. He tried to get a armbar on Junior in their second fight, he couldn't get it, but at least made the attempt. Junior, so far, has made no attempt to go for a submission. I mean, he did show good submission defense when he got out of that armbar by Cain, obviously. But I like to see a lot more of that jiu-jitsu. It's not just for show, and it's not like it's like he basically got that thing out of, a Happy Meal or something. I mean, literally. Because if you're a black belt jiu-jitsu, you got to use that black belt in jiu-jitsu in a fight. But wrestling-wise, JDS has the best counter wrestling in the heavyweight division, that I've seen from a non-striker, because it's very hard to take this guy down. A lot of guys fail to take him down, period. I mean, except for Cain Velasquez, who in the second fight, showing off his Division I wrestling skills by taking him down at least 10 times, or 11, depending. I might be wrong, but I think it was at least 10. But nevertheless, I mean, wrestling-wise, Cain gets it all day long. I mean, and if Velasquez should find himself on the ground, he could spring back up just like that seen in the Lesnar fight. But I don't see it happening because, I mean, although Junior Dos Santos has good offensive wrestling, was shown in the Hunt fight and in the Carwin fight where he took down a Division II wrestler in Carwin, I doubt he's going to get down Cain Velasquez. That's just my opinion. I don't see it happening. But regardless, here's what they're both going to try to do to each other as far as their game plans are concerned. Cain is going to do what he does. He's going to come after you. He's going to try to put the pressure on you and never stop until he finishes you or breaks your will and rises out to a decision. With that in mind, he cannot stay within range of Dos Santos. He has to keep this in the kickboxing range. If he doesn't get the takedown, he has to stay calm and keep going for it until he gets it. And as always, when he goes for the ground and pound, stay patient. Don't overdo it, and gas yourself out. Just just basically do it very slow, like he's done. Very methodical. That's what I want to say. It's very methodical. There's no wasted motion, but there's not a lot of rush. Unless he actually knows you're out, then he's gonna rush. And just basically keep the pressure on Dos Santos, mix in your kicks well, and don't get in the range. The guy can hit, basically use his hand speed and finish you. Dos Santos, even though he's primarily he likes to headhunt and finish you. I mean, he does throw some punches to the body, but he never has finished a fight by body blows. But he needs to be a lot heavier on the body blows this time around. And with that, if he goes to the body real heavy and basically destroys Cain Velasquez's ribs, goes to his solar plexus, messes up his liver, by mixing in his boxing and mixing up his Muay Thai, he has to use it for this fight, and just wreck this guy here, and there. His chin is going to fall down, and then it's going to be susceptible to a hook or an uppercut, or chopping right over the ear, again. So he could be knocked down and ground and pound, baby, finish him just like that and get your title back. But to even do this, JDS has to, not let Velasquez close the distance and take him down and wear him out with, ground and pound and his wrestling and his dirty boxing. He cannot let him get any of that stuff going. He's got to stuff the takedowns. He's got to check the kicks, and be heavy on the body so that he can get that fight-ending blow. to finish Velasquez off and claim his belt back. And hell, if it's there, take Velasquez down. And if you're on the bottom with Velasquez, where he has top control over you, pass his guard, you know, and get on top of him and pound him out, or basically threaten him with submissions and use all that jiu-jitsu and try to either use it to get up or use it to basically try to put him in a bad position or think twice about taking you down. But for the most part, I have this fight like this. Cain, in my opinion, wins this fight at least 60% of the time. JDS wins 40% of the time. But if I'm picking this fight, the winner of it, it's got to be Cain Velasquez by either decision or by TKO. He will win this series 2-1, and he will go to face the likes of Fabricio Werdum, or the winner between Travis Brown and Josh Barnett, and eventually John Jones in a super fight. As far as the defeated challenger, he will have to work his way up the gauntlet until he convinces the UFC and the fans that he is worthy of another title shot. But ultimately, if I'm JDS, I'm praying that Cain loses that title to somebody else, so my road back to the title is a smoother one and a faster one. But ultimately, Cain is going to win, baby. That's all there is to it. Whether you like it or not, he's going to win. And now that will do it for this fight prediction. I will see you guys for the next one.